Um, and I want to say a big, big thank you. Oh, um, that here's what I love about A Course in Miracles students and teachers is the great prayer, I am here only to be truly helpful. And when I reach out to uh, teachers, students, even people who are relatively new to the course, I always get this overwhelming yes, I would love to talk because I think everyone has that feeling that this is an opportunity to really be truly helpful.
Yes.
So I very much appreciate that.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for doing this.
Um, how long have you been how long have you been with the course? I know you also have a yoga background.
That's right. Yes. With the Course in Miracles since 2014. And that was coinciding with my yoga practice for a little while. So it was the physical kind of yoga, like Kundalini yoga, Ashtanga
Mhm.
yoga. And I noticed over the years what I really liked about it was how I could tune in with the spirit. That's what that's what I really liked about those practices. It started out as just being about exercise. I was trying to flatten my belly. But then I really got in touch with this background stillness and saw that that's really what I'm looking for. So, yes, and then 2014, so it was 2009, 2008, I started yoga. 2014, A Course in Miracles.
How did the course find you during your yoga journey?
Well, I was consuming a lot of spiritual text at the time. I felt a huge seeking energy and I could not get enough. I would read anything I could get my hands on and I could read things quickly. I had A Course in Miracles. I started writing. Well, let's back up to I started writing in 2019 or 2009, what was coming to me. Started writing that online. And then people would ask me if I studied A Course in Miracles. And I was like, I don't even know what that is. And then once enough people asked me, because they said I sounded like A Course in Miracles, I got the book, and that was 2012. And then it sat on my bookshelf for a couple years because it looked like the Bible to me, which I have a lot of experience with. And it just looked like a huge text that I wasn't interested in diving into yet
Right.
until 2014. And it was
It's
like I opened it, and I don't remember where I opened it or what I read, but I knew right away that I didn't need to seek anymore. I was just aware right there. I felt like I needed to write a book like this. And so when I picked it up, I go, it's done. That was one of the first things that came to me. It's done.
it's interesting that people were saying that you sound like Course in Miracles because
Right.
obviously you were already listening to the Holy Spirit
Yes.
even then. So it's no coincidence that you sounded like Course in Miracles
Right.
because you know that the universal voice, the universal inspiration.
Yeah, that's right. I would touch into it every morning for my writings. And I remember in my writings back then in the early days, I was writing through a lot of tension in my body's energy field, but I just get real still and listen for the words to write and they'd come out. Even though they didn't reflect what I was really experiencing in my body's energy field,
Right.
they were true and pure. Yeah.
Um, do you consider those like channeled writings?
No, I don't consider them channeled. I feel more like they're my true thoughts. And then that's also confirmed in A Course in Miracles as well. Even before I picked it up A Course in Miracles, these are my true thoughts. I'm actually relaxing through tension. The body is like, a tense body because it's made of a false concept that we're separate. So it's like It's like feeling through the tension that goes along with separate sounding and feeling like a tone kind of thought, and resting into what's beneath that, which is our true thoughts. Our true thoughts are only thoughts that we think with God, and they have a certain tone that you can sense.
That's beautiful. I hope. Do you think that your yoga practice was preparing you to ease that bodily tension in order to be a more effective vehicle for the Holy Spirit?
Well, I want to be a little bit cautious when I talk about something like that because for everyone it's different. So it's specific to whatever it is. I mean, for me that's what I was called to do, and in my life it seemed like that didn't even fit into my life, being a person who practices yoga 2 hours a day, right?
Right.
It would look like it couldn't really, but I just made that a priority because that was where the was. See? And I know that we need that more than anything. We need that relaxation. That's what I was getting in the earliest days. It was like, keep following this thread of relaxation because that's really your spiritual practice. You
Right.
know, what people get caught up on is the form, like what are they doing, for me, I was dealing with so much tension that I didn't feel, I guess you would say, normal unless I had my 2 hour yoga practice. It was kind of like brushing my hair, like I needed
Right.
that. So it occurred. And the way I held it was like this. It started to be really gentle. I started out being a gym bunny from the time I was 14. And so I was used to being really strict and hard on myself. So when I started with yoga, the practice turned really gentle. It was like if I feel guided toward it above everything else, that's always how it is in the moment. And I feel like I have the energy for it. And, at the time, my baby doesn't need me. That was one aspect too,
Right.
right? So when those lined up and I just allowed them to line up without judgment, they started to line up all the time. It was like there was barely a day that I would go without.
So, how did someone who is was strictly not strictly but very body centered, um, and then when you came across the course, um,
Yeah.
and the course, it's of course the course doesn't deny the body, but it says the body's strictly neutral. Um,
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah.
did Was there any did it create a dichotomy of um, you know the physical and now moving towards more the spiritual, that you're asked to sort of view the body as not your identity,
That's
because as
right.
you said, you're a self-described gym buddy. It was the same for me. I started working out when I was 11, and
Okay.
I don't know that I've missed an actual day in all
Okay.
those years
Ever.
ever. So when I'm told, I'm not a body, I am free.
Yes.
Way back when I picked up the course, my first reaction was, well, I don't know about that.
Right. Hmm.
Did you
There's
have
this
any
body
issues
identity.
with that?
No, in fact, I find it to be very helpful because when it comes to one discipline, what are we being disciplined to? Are we being disciplined toward a better body, a more fit body? Or are we being, because discipline, root word is disciple, or are we a disciple of the spirit through whatever we seem to be doing? Detached from outcome, whether this thing, whatever I seem to be doing, seems to affect my body, negative or positive, and denying any meaning to that kind of cause and effect. Like, as in, I did this many squats, and that's why my butt looks rounder, for instance, right?
Right.
So you bring the Holy Spirit into it, the Holy Spirit's languaging and sight into this, and it's more like you are projecting this cause and effect. All cause is in the mind. That's all it comes down to. So it's the mind always seeing differently. In A Course of Love, it's referenced as coming to know. You're coming to know. You're always coming to know the truth of who you are, right? No matter
Right.
what it is that you seem to be using. Now, the body is also a teaching device, all right? It's been called a teaching device, right? Then the reason for that is that it's like a sounding board for the way your thinking is right now. If thinking needs to be corrected, there's a sense in the body's energy field that tells you that if you're aware of it. You can see when any thought is incoherent. Basically, any thought that comes from fear and that's any thought about the world. You wouldn't believe how all these thoughts are so fearful. If you observe, like I did, and have, uh, is when you are following a thought about the world, something tightens up in the body's energy field. You can observe that. And when you are allowing your true thought to come through, everything relaxes in the body's energy field. So, using these things as signals, right? And also the way that we look. Let's look at aging. Do you want to? Are you excited about it? Or do you have something else?
Am I excited about aging?
Yeah, are you excited about looking at that?
Well, yes, I am excited about looking at it. I turned 61 uh, just under a month. So
Uh huh.
aging, aging, especially someone who has been quite physical their entire
Yes.
life,
Uh
uh,
huh.
can be. Uh, this is when the body doesn't seem so neutral anymore. Sometimes when you get older,
Yay.
the body can actually seem sort of like, as we age, we almost view it as an enemy. I was a caregiver for my father end of life,
Yeah.
and he was suffering congestive heart failure that came out of the blue at the age of 92. I mean, he
Mm-hmm.
had it, but it didn't really affect him much, and then it did.
Uh
And he
huh.
went from using a cane to a walker to a wheelchair in months.
Hmm.
And he looked at me one day and he said, "Should have died a year ago,"
What a
because
sweet.
he was in good health.
Mm.
He was mobile. He needed less help, and now I was taking care of everything for him. Um, but that made me think. You know, we can view our body as an enemy sometimes, right?
Yeah, that's why it ages and dies in our perception. There's no aging or dying in reality. And see, the thing is reality, perception is perception. So, what we're doing is we're perceiving aging and automatically projecting it like it's real because we see it. But we're not seeing, we're perceiving. That's different. Perceiving means we've projected it to be like that so that we can look upon our own belief about reality. So, this is a belief we've been taught. Okay. So, you take an illusion like that. I'm going to show you, I'm going to just kind of like walk through a simple way to practice forgiveness and get relaxation within the illusion of aging. Okay. Whenever you get the perception of it, notice how you feel without judgment. The perception of aging, right? Look at what happens in our perception. Things seem to just kind of like wither away or something. And then feel what that feels like. And notice that you would not keep anything that's effect is a feeling like that. So you're open to a different interpretation. In that moment, this is forgiveness. Okay. What I thought happened didn't happen. No aging has occurred. Just because I'm perceiving it doesn't mean it's occurred. What I thought happened did not happen. It lets you see your pattern and how you keep on buying into the idea that aging is what? Inevitable. Okay. So what we're being asked to do is be released from fear That's what we're being asked by Jesus to do, how he's coming through A Course in Miracles, is be released from fear as soon as possible. And that's the only thing we need to be released from is fear. And the fear is manifesting as all these thoughts that are propping up an illusion full of a bunch of stuff we don't like. See?
Hmm.
Well, people try to sugarcoat it and say it's beautiful and shit like that, right? But no one likes it. No one truly likes it.
True. Hey, Hope, it never occurred to me. Um, well, here's what I love about the course is
Yeah.
forgive, forgive, forgive. When it comes up, forgive it. And I've been very diligent in my practice for decades. But
Mhm.
until this very moment, it never occurred to me to forgive aging
Yay.
ever. And I told you backstage that so often a guest gives me something uh, to carry with me, to carry in my heart, and
Oh,
that was huge. So thank you so much
yeah.
for saying that.
Yes, it's so fun because every time you see it and you actually accept the Holy Spirit's interpretation of what you're looking at, you notice the release in the body's energy field. So your goal isn't to get your body to look younger. Your goal is to change your mind completely about this. To see it completely meaningless so that no one is actually capable of aging in your perception ever again.
Right, right. That reminds me of chapter 17, the Holy Spirit's um oh, what's the word I'm looking for? The Holy Spirit's plan,
Okay?
and how we are we make up our mind about something
Yes,
before,
that's right.
um, and very often after that something happens and we say, well, this is how I'm going to feel about that.
Uh-huh.
But the Holy Spirit will ask us to have the outcome in mind first. That no matter what's going to happen, I'm going to experience peace. No matter what's going
Yes.
to happen, I'm going to forgive. No matter what's
That's it.
happened, I'm going to be loving. And it just, when you say that, imagine if we approach aging that way, if we approached our body that way, that
Yes,
no matter what happens, I hand it over to the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit is only going to love.
that's it. Yep, it's only loved. And the thing is you don't really have a body like you think. The body is 100% a projection of your psyche, okay? It's made in it's an image of all of the beliefs that you circulate. So that's why Jesus talks about in ACIM, especially in chapter 2 in the complete and annotated edition, he talks about how we need to watch the unwatched mind. Where we're way too lax. Basically, to paraphrase what he's saying in there, we're way too lax with just letting these thoughts run our whole experience
Right?
because we're not watching what we're automatically, habitually feeding here. See?
That reminds me of um, Kenneth Wapnick always saying to we our job examine every darkened corner of the mind
Yes,
and bring light.
that's it. Yes, that's right. And whatever you're looking out upon, the world, the body, it's all your psyche playing out. So you're witnessing dark corners of your mind whenever you're witnessing anything you don't like. Those are the dark corners of your mind.
Right?
You are created for perfect happiness. This world where you have opposites, where happiness has an opposite, that's not the world that's been created for you. Don't take this though as you should reject those bad feelings. They're actually like doorways. They're not to be rejected, they're to be gone through. They're all doorways, they're signals. You know what they're signaling? There's a thought that's causing this feeling that needs to be corrected. And all you need to know is that you don't even know what the thought is, it doesn't even matter. Just that you know that that feeling is signifying that there's a thought you're believing right now that needs to be corrected. And really, you're just open for the correction because the correction is what brings you peace and relaxation.
And the good news, we're not even the ones who are doing the correcting.
That's
We
it.
hand
You're
we hand
right.
it over to the Holy Spirit or to Jesus, uh, whichever symbol that we prefer. The
Really.
course is in the hands of a very skillful teacher. The course is so simple, and I
Yes.
really appreciate how you break down uh, what could be viewed as very complex into very usable. Because
Yes.
if you know, metaphysics are great,
Uh-huh.
but if you don't understand them and if you can't simplify it into a daily, moment by moment practice, it doesn't really serve you very well, does it?
That's right. It doesn't serve you. And the whole goal of it is, well, you could say no more dreaming, end of dreaming. Well, before you reach the end of dreaming, you reach this perfect happiness where you're just enjoying a happy dream. And the only reason is that you're already willing to forgive anything that's arising. Like you've already forgiven it because you know that whatever arises is the means for your awakening. It's
Right.
the means for your clear seeing.
Some people think that, or believe that, we live in some troubling times right now, and that it's actually rather perfect because these darkened corners of the mind are being exposed. And so we have some big forgiveness lessons that means we're ready for it. We're not given a big forgiveness lesson unless we're ready to forgive it, right?
Yeah, and it's only being made big by the ego, right? They're really all the same, small, large, whatever. So it's whatever you can handle without fear. Would you be willing to do this? Would you be willing to forgive this? And this is what Jesus said to do in remembrance of him in chapter 3 of A Course in Miracles, is to be willing to work miracles, to exist for and with each other as we seem to be in time.
Miracle workers.
Yes, that's right. Miracle
Um,
working. That's it.
so that can sound kind of daunting, unless you know what a miracle we're asked to perform. Um,
Yeah.
and we have that's asked almost every live stream with a guest is so what's a miracle? If we're miracle workers, what does that mean that I'm supposed to do, Hope?
It means you're going to establish in your mind that you're dreaming a dream and none of its content is true. You're going to do that through forgiveness. What you thought happened didn't happen, not in the way you thought. Right? This is an emotional thinking journey.
Right,
No one's really there. It's a blank screen you're projecting on. That's forgiveness. None of these thoughts are really true. None of these thoughts about aging, about taxes, about earning, and all this other stuff is true. That's forgiveness.
that's forgiveness.
Okay. That leads to miracles. Miracles establish in your mind that you are, in fact, dreaming and none of this is true. Whatever situation, dynamic you seem to be involved in, stuff just shifts so quickly. Because you're just expressing just through your energy, not through necessarily talking to anyone or anything like that, but just through your energy and you're seeing the way you're seeing. You're not alone in experiencing the effects of your seeing. Yeah. So it affects everything, all minds that feel separate right now.
Right. Um, thoughts do not leave the source.
Yes, that's right.
So this is an individual dream projected out as collective.
That's it. That's why it only takes one to wake up, to wake completely up, and wake up the whole world. That's why it only takes one. It's you. Because it's not from you going out and being a missionary. It's
Right,
from
right.
you waking up.
That I could see people smiling when they hear it only takes one, and I could see people smiling, going, "Well, that means I don't have to do it." But as But as you said, you're the one.
You're the
You're
one.
the one. It's your
Yeah,
job to wake up. That's
that's
what I
it.
love about forgiveness because, as I mention to people quite often, um, I used to, through years of my own yoga practice, uh, and some other non dual traditions, that I chased enlightenment awakening for a
Okay.
long time.
Hmm.
And what I realized, it was in chapter 122, Course in Miracles, Forgiveness Offers Everything I Want. And I read that and I dedicated myself to forgiving whatever came in front of me to the best that I could.
Hmm.
And when I forgive, I am as awakened and as enlightened as I'm ever going to be in that moment of forgiveness. Now, the next moment, everything might come rushing back in, and that's
Hmm.
okay because I can forgive that too, and I can forgive that too, and life goes on, and it's beautiful. It's not without issues, but I have the solution to every issue as it comes up.
Yes, it's the same solution. And Jesus talks about putting all of the apparent problems, all the upsets, all the concepts into one basket of meaningless things.
Right?
So it could just be forgiven easily like that.
There's a reason why I named my channel the Yoga of True Forgiveness
Oh, sweet.
because um, I love the thought. I know that you have read the Bhagavad Gita,
Yes.
and uh, I love Arjunan being counseled of the four paths of yoga um, on the battlefield. And I had this image of Krishna putting his arm around Arjunan after the battle, walking off the field and whispering to him, "There's a fifth path, and the world is not quite ready for it yet, and it's forgiveness." And
Oh,
in 1965, the world became ready. The Course in Miracles presenting, which for me, Course in Miracles is yoga.
yes. Yes, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I got that through yoga, just going in there for the physical aspect, but wow, just getting those moments of stillness. I was like, "Oh yeah, I like that. I want some more of that."
Right. Um, Hope, would you be open to answering a question?
Of course.
And this is concerned. This is a little bit concerned with the body here. Um,
Okay.
in 2010, uh, our friend had a forced Kundalini rising from a 40-foot fall. Being a seeker kept me grounded through the shift. Have you seen this type of opening before? A spontaneous opening of Kundalini through um, something traumatic happening?
I can't say I have. Not something like that. No. I mean, for my own experience, I never had what people talk about where it just like keeps on going like that and goes up and I could say that's a kundalini experience.
Right,
It was more like mellow, slow to develop and open, gradual, more consistent, and it continues to be that way. But I could relate as far as an experience where I had my first major opening where I was like, oh my goodness, I see the whole game. And that was in 2014. I was in a vipassana meditation retreat. That's where you're in silence for 10 days and you actually sit in meditation for 10 hours of each day. Well, I had a bunch of trauma come up at that time, and it was around my mom, and there was a lot of crying and hurting, just physical, mental, emotional, everything. And then all of a sudden, there was kind of like a crack in the veil. And I just saw how I was doing it all. I saw how I was orchestrating the whole thing. Um, for me, from my perspective and the way I see and learn things, to me, that's the greatest Kundalini awakening there
right,
is.
sure,
To be able to see that you're freaking doing it, and you don't have to suffer it any. You don't have to suffer over it anymore.
Right.
Everything changes at that moment, right? Everything changes. And yeah, was I ready for it? For me, I was ready for it. I was prepared. I had, at that point, I had been maybe 30 days into A Course in Miracles daily practice. I had just opened it a month ago or something. And I had been doing yoga, getting into the stillness, enjoying the stillness, open for different interpretations. Had been going through a really dark time where I used to scream in the middle of the night to
Yeah.
get the pain out. And at one point my husband was going, "Are you all right?" And I was like, "I trust this process." And he's like, "Okay, okay, we're good." Everything's all right. But yeah, it was real painful. As far as like not being ready for something, I've heard about that with psychedelics. Definitely.
Right. Um, he has a follow-up question about the physical impact triggered a massive energetic surge. I'd love your insight in integrating such a sudden, non-traditional awakening. So, have you experienced in your teaching people having a spontaneous awakening where they don't feel quite ready for it?
Sure. Yeah, definitely. And you know what? The number one for me in any kind of situation like that is gratitude. This is exactly perfect for me. I'm making a judgment right now that I'm not ready for it. See, how are you going to get something that you're not ready for? Right? It's like if this illusion, however it plays out, is the means to your awakening, how's it going to go wrong? Even how you're awakening is part of the illusion, right?
Right,
You're,
right,
you're not really awakening because you're not really asleep. You're just making a story. In the dream, you wake up.
right. I take great comfort in the knowingness that the script is written,
Yes.
that this isn't an accident. This
Hmm.
this was designed, and guess what? I'm the one that designed it.
Right.
Uh, and I had guidance. I had a consultant. I had the Holy Spirit nodding, saying, "Yep, it's exactly what you need."
Yeah.
Um,
I'd look at it like, wow, thanks. Wow. Oh, wow. I didn't know it was going to go that fast. Shit. This is awesome. Just like really like see how you can enjoy. And your enjoyment is also natural. So look at the blocks to enjoyment. Here's a block to enjoyment. I got this too soon. I wasn't ready. That's a block to enjoyment. That's actually a block to enjoying that gift that made you this open. It's like, whoa, it seems like I can't handle this. Good thing that's not true.
right. So, what I've most been loving about this conversation is you keep taking everything to another depth. That everything, forgive this. What comes up, take it deeper. Forgive this. That
Yeah.
everything can be. It's almost like Brian Katie's turnaround and the four questions. Um,
Oh, Byron Katie. Yeah.
yeah, Brian Katie, and how you flip things around in a truly um, uh, beautiful fashion. That so this is happening. Guess what? It's a good thing. Forgive
Yeah.
it, and because it's here to be forgiven, and you get to do it.
That's right. That's what we learned through A Course in Miracles too. It's like Jesus is like, "Do you trust me that the means are what you need?"
Right?
That's exactly whatever you're perceiving, that's the means.
Have you ever uh, g- have you ever been where you balked at trusting, where you know that this is coming up, and you know what you're supposed to do, um, but have you ever like stopped at the door and said, "Jesus, are you sure? Are you sure this is it?"
Well, yeah, I mean, I went through a period where I didn't talk to Jesus at all. From the time I was about 18 until I was probably, I don't know, maybe in my 40s or something. So I went through that time. I was raised a Christian missionary, but then I didn't like a lot of the things about the way I was raised. And my mom told me if I reject Jesus, I'm going to get punished. So I just wanted to even test that. And I was like, oh, yeah. screw Jesus, let's see what happens. so so yeah, and my experience was when I took things to be real and meaningful during those years, it was not a happy time. It's like I was not myself for a little while. It was almost like I made an agreement to be someone else. Because as a little tiny kid, I totally trusted in what Jesus was saying. I was always in touch with Jesus, and he was super kind and always talked to me about how I was being helpful and about how everyone around me it needs me to be happy and extending love. So I'd listen to him and go to the truth and be in the truth, even though it seemed like there was a lot of things I didn't like going on in my childhood at the same time. But when I veered away from that, whew, things got tough. Things got tough. And I didn't go back to talking to Jesus right away. First, I got some new age stuff got a hold of me in my 30s. And I was like, what the heck is this? I go, I already know all this stuff. How do I know this stuff?
Right. Um, I wanted to ask you, a lot of people, they come to the course, they come to yoga, they come to some uh, new age practices, either through just being inquisitive, or I think most often because they're suffering.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yeah.
don't like who they are.
Huh?
They're handling it. Some people handle it through addiction,
Mm-hmm.
some through harming themselves in another way. But um, you know, everyone's looking for some way out.
Yes.
Is that how you arrived uh, through yoga and the course? Through you were, you know, the course says Jesus says your tolerance for pain may be high, but it's not without limits.
Yes, I totally see that. And I just couldn't do. I wanted to experience a normal life. Like a normal American life where you have a husband, you have a kid, and you have like in our case we had a business and all these bills and different stuff, and the goal me and my husband was to make a bunch of money. And I started to just feel it. I started early on at only 28 feeling like this depression feeling coming over me, and a sense like, is this it? Right. And so at first I just tried to push it down, and then for a few years that's what I did. I just tried to fill all my space with all of the trappings of the world, expensive everything, stuff like that. And then I just kind of like hit a wall with all of it, where my anxiety was just so high. I couldn't even function. Let's say I couldn't even function. I couldn't give birth to my third kid without some kind of intervention, because my cells wouldn't even retain iron. It didn't matter how much iron I ate or took. But then someone came in and helped me with my anxiety, and all of a sudden I'm having iron in my cells fine. And
Wow.
I saw that and I go, wait a second, what's happening here? That was the first clue to me that the mind is the cause. There's no cause in the world, obviously. That just like clued me right in. This lady pushed some buttons around, imaginary buttons on my body, and somehow I got relaxed. And when I'm relaxed, the iron works.
Was that sort of a spark that led you towards starting to um, look for those clues? You were given that little
Oh,
clue that, so there's something going on here that's not just the body.
yeah, yeah, a lot of things just all around that pregnancy. It was my third pregnancy and birth that gave me so many clues. I also had a painless birth. And I did that by using a method called hypno babies, where I hypnotized myself to experience these sensations as something other than pain.
Oh, wow.
And it worked. It tripped the midwives out.
I bet. I bet. They didn't expect you to be smiling and having
Yeah,
a good time.
I'm just all calm. I'm on the phone. I'm having a baby.
Taking phone calls.
I'm making a phone call.
Amazing. Um, So here's, I mentioned to you backstage that you came to the course through um, anxiety, through suffering, to looking for answers, and that was 2014. But at what point, I absolutely love, and I also I'm a little scared, manual for teachers, the development of trust. And what I told you backstage is, it seems to me that you stepped fully into it and said, okay, okay, Holy
Yeah.
Spirit, what do you want? What do you want me to do? And you have been living your life from that position. And I think that is amazing.
It's really fun too. It's true that, God's will for us is perfect happiness. You know, all of my equipment is in my mind. It's not in the world. It's not my body. It's not my energy. All of my equipment is in my mind. It's the way I would allow my thoughts to be guided. It's who my teacher is. There's only two teachers in the mind, two guides, ego and the Holy Spirit, right? The Holy Spirit, you could say the Holy Spirit is synonymous with Jesus and God in this description too,
Right.
right? So there's two very distinct voices. And so one of the voices was telling me that I had to earn a living. And the Holy Spirit was saying, basically, you are already abundant. There's nothing that you need to earn anywhere. This is actually an effect of you believing you have to earn a living, that it looks like you have to earn a living. So I kept on looking at that thought like that until it was just like a natural next step for me to walk right out of the business that I built. By the way, it's called Miracle Botanicals. It's still being run, just not by me.
Nice.
Yeah, and not knowing where that would go or anything or how it would land, but just being, it just was automatic because my mind was changed about this scarcity fallacy that Jesus talks about a lot.
Isn't that an amazing expression? Um, we have to earn a living, as if it wasn't already granted, as if life itself wasn't already given, and not by us, but by grace itself.
Yes.
And we come here and we're told, all right, now you're on your own, make something of yourself.
Yeah.
Um, and we buy into it, and we literally become uh, slaves of chasing after that, of a concept that's not even true.
Yeah. Yeah. And one way that I would look at it that would be very helpful is just being truly, truly honest with myself. No matter what I seem to be doing, if it's something that makes me money, would I do this if I didn't hold this fear about money? Would I be doing this if I didn't think I needed to make any money or earn money? Would I still be doing this thing? And just to be really honest with myself about that, not to be guilty for it and not to sugarcoat it. Right? A lot of people try to sugarcoat it. They're telling themselves, "I'm really enjoying what I'm doing right now," but they haven't actually checked in with the feeling, right? So it's easy for us to tell ourselves we're enjoying this, so it'll make it easier for us to do what we have to do to make money. But the thing is, we don't really. It's back to the belief that we have to do something to make money in the first place. That's what needs to be resolved. It's not the action itself of the making money. That's the means that you use while you're going through it to see, I'm finding myself doing something that I wouldn't do if there wasn't that thought that said, I need to make money.
Right. Right. Was there any trepidation on your end when you were asked to trust, when you asked to um, surrender so completely that um, all there was trust?
For me, it seems like it just unwound itself over time till there was a point where obvious to myself and obvious to people around me, I crossed some threshold where it came to undoing the mind, where I just didn't have that like people have, like with the ambition, needing to have any particular outcome, anything like that. Just a willingness to live in this stream of abundance. And I feel like it's it's just like the natural result of over time being willing to see these thoughts differently, and holding to Jesus's words, right, about how this is the means. That was huge for me. This is the means for your awakening. Oh, I can't stand this though. And it's like, yeah, but this is the, and so I'd keep on opening up slowly, slowly. My body's energy field, I could feel it there. It's opening to this feeling and letting this feeling just be expressed without holding any judgment. And then once it, and it was, this was over many years though, that it
Right.
unwound like this. It's like, it was like a gentle undoing. I was not being presented with, you have to do this right now. It's like, just gently, and Jesus is very gentle about everything. Just gently lean right into it. You know, if you want to be in resistance, it's okay. I'll wait right here to help you when you're more willing. It's okay.
Beautifully said. Um, and particularly meaningful to me as I find myself um, here on YouTube with a cell phone and an internet connection, um, and no technical experience or even uh, capability. Um, and having decided that this is um, this is my place, that this is my what I will do full time is I will talk Course in Miracles, I'll talk yoga, tie it all together because as we've talked just a little bit ago, it's all one thing. It's all based on forgiveness. It's all yoga.
Yeah,
Um, but there's definitely some fear that can you uh, can you do it? Can I do it? Um, and you know, I love your reassurance that if you were called to do it, then of course you can do it.
yes.
So I really, really appreciate that. And I told you before that um, it always seems like the guest has something very specific uh, to share with me. And
Yay.
I know other people are thinking the same thing. She said that just for me. Uh,
Yeah.
it's perfect. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you too.
Um, because you know what, the the section on developing trust
Mhm.
can be disconcerting because you're asked to trust, and then there's the undoing.
That's right.
Um, and then you get to a little more comfortable place and you let out this sigh. Uh, and then you realize you're still valuing things um, that have no true value.
That's right.
And those seem to be taken away. They're not really taken away because they had no value anyway.
That's
But
right.
when we cling to it, it certainly does feel like we're losing something.
Yeah, because what we're feeling like we're losing is the meaning that we put on this thing or situation or whatever that had value for a separate self. So it's really emptiness, it's really nothingness that's being taken away. But to a fearful ego, it feels like identity.
Right.
So nothing real, nothing that's valuable, nothing that's truly valuable is ever going to be taken away. You can't even, there's just absolutely no sacrifice in this at all. Uh the ego just interprets it as sacrifice because of the loss of identity that's happening.
And they give that away right in chapter one of A Course in Miracles. The whole thing, the whole message of the Course in Miracles is
Right.
given away in one paragraph in the introduction of A Course in
Mhm.
Miracles.
Yes, that's right.
And if we got that, if we got that, if we truly got it when we first read it, we could shut the book and say, well, it's all I needed to hear. But of course, there's so many blocks that need to be undone.
That's right. And it feels like this system that's very surgical in undoing the blocks. Now, I don't know if you know that I do a 2-hour deep dive into A Course in Miracles text every week,
No, I
where
didn't know
we
that.
go really deep into a couple of, maybe a couple paragraphs or maybe like 4 or 5 sentences.
Um, After the live stream, when you have a free moment, if you can send me a link for that, and I'll put it in the description so more
Oh,
people can find it.
yeah,
Um,
awesome.
I, you know, I was a caregiver for my mom
Mhm.
for about 9 years, along with my dad. Her long decline through Alzheimer's, um, and the course literally got me through it because um, it rewired my entire mental process of communication. Because when you're talking with someone with dementia, uh, you can't say anything like "pay attention." Don't you listen? How many times do I have to say this? Um, Things that sort of you don't mean it in a mean way, but it's so normal to say because we heard it when we were kids. Pay attention.
Mhm.
Didn't you hear me the first time? How many times do I have to say this? And you find yourself reiterating it later in life. Um, but when you're dealing with someone with dementia, you always put in the present moment because there is no, uh, I just told you. This is just now. And you
Mhm.
say whatever you need to say as many times and as gently as possible. And the course gave me that vocabulary. Um,
Mm.
and then I became the caregiver for my father. Uh, and it was the same process. But when my father passed away, spending so many years as a caregiver, um, not only did I lose, my dad, the most meaningful person to me in the world, I lost my identity. So I thought. Um, and I was meditating one day and asking, so what do I do? And I had a clear message that you are a caregiver, keep caring. And now you have everyone to care for. It's not based upon someone specific. And that was the birth of my YouTube channel, talking about breath work and yoga. I was always hesitant to talk about the course for
Mm.
a while until one day I wasn't out of the blue. And it's been the focus of my channel ever since.
Oh, fabulous. I love that.
So that's where I find myself now is, um, you know, can can I can I do this? And again, I got such a great sense of assurance from your message.
Good. I'm glad. Yeah. It's like, of course you can.
Right, especially when you were talking about the uh, scarcity, the self talk that we have,
Uh-huh.
and it's not even our talk. We inherited it,
That's right.
uh,
It's programming.
right? And I grew up with depression era parents,
Uh-huh.
um, and they were very loving, very kind, but they were very scared about finances, even though they
Mm.
both did okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but they grew up with never enough. Both of them were poor, um, and they brought that along to me, and I never questioned it for most of my life.
Yep. That's how it is. That's how it is because we believe that that voice is us, but it's not. And that's what A Course in Miracles clarifies. These are not your real thoughts. Thoughts about the world, thoughts about your relationships with other people, for instance. These are not your real thoughts. And when you know the difference, there's a definite feeling difference. One's opening in the body's energy field and one's closing off. It's just so simple like that to listen for the one that opens, listen for the one that's more relaxing. See, a lot of people are so used to being closed when they hear something so simple that no, you can't really have an awakening too soon. You could just be ungrateful for the awakening that you
Right.
had, right? When people hear stuff like that, they think it's too simple sometimes. It's like, no, I got to suffer over this. I'm not ready to use it like that. First, I need to use it for suffering and for feeling like something bad's happened. I took a wrong path or something like that. It's like, bless it. Bless it all up.
I love the depth that you take appreciation. Um,
Mm.
and I was planning on writing about this more. I read in chapter 17 today about can you appreciate your brother for what they offer you,
Ah,
whatever it is they offer you, because it gives you the opportunity to remember only the loving thoughts. It gives you the
That's right.
opportunity to forgive. It gives you the opportunity to um, this is your awakening moment. It's not going to come from a burning bush or a bolt of lightning. It's going to come from you know the next door neighbor who plays your stereo too loud, or
That's it.
it's going to come from someone cutting you off in traffic.
Huh? Yeah, or someone breaking your heart, for instance. But
Right.
see, the thing is, this is the thing about forgiveness. No one's doing anything. No one's cutting you off in traffic. No one's offending you. No one's breaking your heart. No one's actually doing anything. These are just experiences that we go through, and it gives us something. See, it's like we have to have something that's tangible to forgive, right? For forgiveness to get to complete itself. Something to forgive would be this sense like, oh, this is real. This person just cut me off in traffic. They must hate me. You know? uh, then you have something to forgive because it's actually triggering a reaction. See, that's where you have something to forgive. There's triggering a reaction, and it's very sensory if you pay attention to it. It's visceral in the body's energy field. So when you notice that reaction happening, you go, "Oh, there's something that I could see differently." And that's it. It's just really so simple that the
Right.
ego is like, I need more practice or something. I need a roadmap. People have told me I need a roadmap. I'm like, what do you mean a roadmap? You got doubt popping up in front of your mind. That's meaningless. That's your roadmap. That's a meaningless thought. That's the whole thing. Jesus is saying in A Course in Miracles, your childhood trauma, anything you think is causing your state right now, it's not. It's simply the thought of separation that needs to be undone.
One problem, no matter how many forms
That's
it
it.
appears to be. But we are so attached to our victimhood. We don't want to let
Yes.
that go, and no one can convince us that of course this happened. Of course my this abuse or this or that, and it's always the most awful things. And of course, you meet people where they are,
Right?
but at the same time, when you truly get that um, that none of it really happened. It's such a huge relief. And you wonder, when you finally get there, you wonder, why did I cling to it? Why did I cling to that pain for so long?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like you can look at it as yoga. Kundalini yoga gave me a really good way of looking at this. You know how they have you flapping your arms forever in Kundalini yoga like
Right,
that or something, right? And here you are, like 10 minutes in, flapping your arms. And the yoga teacher's like, go through it. You can do it. And then at the end, you rest and you feel the sensations in your body's energy field. And he goes, now forget what you went through and be to what it delivered you to. Right? Be here where it delivered you to. So I'm like, wow, where it's delivering me to is where I actually already am.
right, right,
So everything becomes like that. Whatever the manifestation is, it becomes like that kind of yoga. I take in the sensation and I recognize it. The causation is in the mind, not in the thing that seems to have happened. It's the mind projecting separation. It's my habit to have this kind of perception with this kind of tone. See, just being aware of that is enough. That's forgiveness already.
right. And this is all stuff that we can investigate for ourselves. We're
Oh,
we're not
yeah.
we're not asked to take anything um, at face value.
Uh huh.
Um, Forgive, see through the story, and see, like you said with Kundalini Yoga, see where it leads you.
Hmm. That's right.
Um, we have another question for you.
Okay.
Has A Course in Miracles helped you embody characters as an actor more easily? Oh, so this would be the wrong. We had a guest this afternoon who actually couldn't make it. Who's an actor?
Oh, okay.
Um,
Do you want me to take that question anyways?
would you like to take it? Let me
Yeah.
ask the whole question. Has A
Okay.
Course in Miracles helped you embody characters as an actor more easily because you don't stand in your own way anymore?
basically what I look at it is like, this is the actor. Anything that I seem to be doing in the field, that is the actor that the Holy Spirit is using, right? Wherever I would let the Holy Spirit use the actor, then that's how, it's going to be a happy scene. It's always going to be a happy scene. The goal is peace. It's a happy it's a happy scene. Even the actor gets to be happy. We're all acting in this thing. We all are. It's like we've got this mask of, like, this body even is like this whole mask that seems to hold in our innermost whatevers, but there's actually nothing in there, just a costume. There's nothing there. There's nothing inside of the body. The body's actually being projected by our mind as a character for the Holy Spirit to use.
So it seems that our friend asked the right question after all, didn't
That's
he?
right. It's always like that.
Thank you for that. Oh,
Yeah.
um, so where are you with the course now? How does the course unfold in your life in this present moment from 2014 to now? What's been the evolution for you?
Well, of course, at first I studied it and I did the lessons. I did all the lessons. I did the lessons 3 years in a row. So I took those 365 lessons for 3 years in a row. And then I took a little break there and I started on the last half of the book, or the last half of the lessons, and completed those. So I did my study period
Right.
with A Course in Miracles, right? So like at first it was like a lot of paying attention all day long. I have these timers. They're reminding me to see things differently basically throughout the day, because it's programmed and it's habitual, right? To see the way our world, you could say our world programming trained us to see. So it's this mind training course where each day we're seeing our situations, we're using whatever comes up in our perception, and we're using that to undo what we thought we made, basically. I mean, it's
Right.
not even really here. It's why I phrased it like that. What we thought we made. So at this point, I'm saying I seem to know A Course in Miracles really well. I'm doing these deep dives right now. And when I do these deep dives, I'm like, wow, it's just taking me to such deeper understanding and ways of seeing that just, take me out of this normal worldly way of being where we go through moods and stuff like that.
Right.
It's just yeah. So now it's automatically applied. The way it's evolved is it's automatically applied now. Everything is forgiven before it ever arises, right? And it's not like I can't see games. I see the ego's games all the time, especially in relationship dynamic. I write about them sometimes. It's just that I separate the behavior and the pattern that I perceive someone playing out with me with from who we are. Those are not who we are. We are not our psychology. Basically, we are not this actor that you perceive. Okay. So when those two things are separated out like that, I see patterns very easily. I see manipulation, and it's not like it's an evil thing. It's just that these things are arising because we've developed these strategies to try to get love, attention, support, all these different things. So I could just see them very plainly, and I could see them without judgment, and that allows me to not get trapped in them, because that's what happens. Like, we'll get trapped into dynamics with people and we don't see the dynamic because we're not seeing deeply. We're just seeing the surface of things. We're just seeing behaviors and projecting and things like that. But when you see what the habits are in your dynamics, in your relating with thoughts, with people, whatever it seems to be, you start to recognize, oh, there's where I go and abandon myself. There's where in the pattern I go to abandon myself. And you just simply stop doing that. It's not even a lot of pressure. It's not any pressure.
Right. I love the shift that you've taken from, as you said, your study period
Hmm.
to living A Course in Miracles,
Yeah,
because it needs to be um, very fluid in our lives. It's a living practice. Uh, it's not a, we say workbook,
yeah,
but we're not doing the workbook so that we know the workbook. We're doing the workbook so that we experience its effects in our life. And
that's right.
I love for me how the lessons come to me spontaneously in the exact way it needs to uh,
Hmm.
in my life. And right now, my focus has been on the manual for teachers,
Oh, good.
um, and specifically right now, working with trust and development of trust. And I'm doing that through um, the rules for decision. Just every morning, um, uh, saying I will make no decisions by myself,
Hmm.
and saying to Jesus, what should I do today? Where should I go? What should I say, and to who? Um, and then making those decisions that, um, if I make no decisions on my own, this is the type of day that I can experience. If I'm not experiencing this day, it's because I clearly made a decision on my own and I messed it all up. Um, and that's a sign to just hand everything over. You know, I wrote this morning, my life now feels like a sigh. Like
Mm.
I was holding my breath for 50 some years. And now I'm just,
Yeah, thank you for doing that.
um, and even if it's just a little bit of fear, it's just a reminder. Let it go.
Mhm.
Exhale, exhale, exhale.
That's right.
Um, we have another question.
Okay.
Let's see. To what extent does focusing on our internal thoughts prevent us from acquiring new information? And how do we know if we're overdoing it?
Okay, I love it. Thank you. So those thoughts, all thoughts, they're just coming automatically. It's like they're bubbling up. The ego thoughts are louder and they're on the surface. So we might be just seeing those. We don't have to do a lot of effort. It's more like willingness where you will place your attention. Would you throughout the day notice that narrative voice that's talking about everything you're experiencing? See, you're not going to overdo this. You're more likely to underdo it, okay, than overdo it. All this is being in a like a natural kind of open space where you're willing to witness whatever it is that you're thinking. Okay, these are not real thoughts. You're not really thinking them. You're actually watching a movie. It's like you're watching a movie and these thoughts are playing out on a ticker tape. And depending on the decision you make about that thought, that determines what's going to manifest in your experience, including your body. See? So it's not like you have to be aware of your thoughts all the time. You're being encouraged to be aware of your thoughts all the time because it brings you peace and happiness, and that's what you want. When you're avoiding what you're thinking and avoiding, you're also avoiding what is you're feeling at the same time. You're running off actually chasing other thoughts in the mind. Now, when your mind is quiet, which is actually which actually just happens naturally when you see that these thoughts are meaningless again and again and again and again, and when your mind is quiet, insight comes in. Like for me, I was just able to tune in to the quietude, and then when I'm not tuned into the quietude, be aware, alert. This is alertness. It comes down to alertness, alert about what thoughts are running my vibe, right? And not with judgment, just alertness and willingness to see. See what Jesus is saying about the unconscious mind is he's always calling the unwatched mind is that we're afraid of it. And he says, you're right to be afraid of it. It's the source of fright. But this is what I'm telling you. It's also 100% meaningless. Don't be afraid to look. Look on it as meaningless, not as identity for you.
Beautifully said. Wallet, I hope you found that helpful. I certainly did. Um, this isn't a question, but it's a statement from our friend Bhakta Tom. Bhakta Tom is a Bhakti yogi. He
Okay.
practices devotion. He says, I love how she shines when she talks about all of this. You can feel the sincerity in her smile when she talks. True joy.
Aw. Aw, thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to share that with you. And all right, we have a question from a friend that says, I've got a question. If someone presses your buttons, how do you rise above it if it happens every day and it gets your blood boiling? Could you ask that question, please, Eric?
Ooh, I love that question because I was living with that. That's the kind of thing I was living with, okay? Different kinds of things. Living with a family, it seemed like one of my sons was definitely pushing my buttons all the time. In particular, one of our employees, my husband, every day it was like that. So it's the same with that as it is for anything else. This is actually where my practice started, in this kind of environment. And you can read my book, it's available on my website, Unschooling for Parents, Awakening with Children. Okay. So noticing that the button that got pushed is something I'm projecting because I made it mean this thing. I made it mean this thing. So it looked like my son, who was 12 at the time, could always push my buttons. And it was almost like I needed to get out of the house and get away from him because I would get so triggered by him. Right. So I started with A Course in Miracles there, and I started to see things different. I go, wait a minute. It's because of the meaning I'm putting on this. This is my habit to act like this guy is doing something to me. So, or doing something to his little brother. One of them was, it seemed like he was beating up his little brother who was only 6, right? So, so I started to look at it different. And at one point, it didn't take very long. It's maybe took a couple of years of practice before I saw this, which to me, in the scheme of things, is not long at all. Where the scenario, you guys know, like a looping pattern pops up and you feel the same way again. And it seems like the same thing you're going through again. And he looked at me and he's like, it seemed like he always wanted to piss me off too. He goes, you're really pissed at me right now, aren't you, Mom? And I go, it feels like that. It feels like I'm pissed at you in my body right now. And I was really tuned into how I felt. But I know that's not true because mind is above it, right? It's showing me that I'm believing in a thought that's not true. So, because I'm aware that I'm believing in a thought that's not true, and that's why I'm having this perception that someone's pushing my buttons every day, it's like I just felt the miracle in my body's energy field right there. I felt all this pressure. This is what it feels like. There's all this pressure, a closing down feeling. Oh, not this again. I should have sent this kid to military school, right? All this pressure closing down. And then all of a sudden you see that this is something you make up, and boom, it's almost like you shine. It's like a vertical energy just straight up through the crown. I felt it. My son felt it. I saw it in his eyes, right? And he was like, really, Mom? Because I said, that's what I feel like. That's what you're picking up on. That's what I feel like, but I know it's not true. I know there's only love here. Yeah.
So
So
that was for
that's how
you,
to approach it.
right? There you go. I hope you found that helpful. Um, it's that self responsibility.
Hmm.
Because I noticed that, you know, you didn't say, my son did this to me and did this to me and did this to me, that these were your experiences
Hmm.
that you had.
Right. Yeah, no one can push my buttons without me scripting them to push my buttons, right? No one could break my heart. I experienced heartbreak recently too. No one could break my heart without me scripting it like that. So then the pain of it, so let's take heartbreak for instance. The pain of heartbreak actually gets used for deeper truth, more love extended, more understanding about how the workings of this world are, right? It's like anything that it is, it's my responsibility, and it's the means for my own awakening. So I welcome it. Does that mean that I'm denying myself? No, I'm not telling myself stories. At one point I was, that I need to stay in this situation, even stay with a kid, even stay with my son. I don't need to stay in any particular situations. I don't lock myself in or limit myself. All I do is recognize that the form itself, in whatever way it's manifesting right now, is helpful. See?
Gratitude again,
Yes.
appreciation. Um,
Yeah.
so it's such a wonderful practice, and it really is a practice. I love the term practice because it takes the onus of perfection off of us. Just practice.
Yeah.
Some days you are a perfect practitioner, some days you're less than perfect. Um, but even those less than perfect practice periods, one, have immense benefit, and two, you're forgiving the image that it should have been perfect to begin with.
That's right. You take it back to that. Even Jesus talks about, you don't have to complete one lesson each day. Just complete that lesson in however many days it takes you to get focused enough to do the lesson.
Um, so our friend said to thank you very much
Thank you too.
for your
I
answer.
love you.
And we have another question. How does peace without effort work when A Course in Miracles ego undoing demands constant forgiveness practice?
Well, the practice part, let's say where you're learning, yes, you need to take time to study. That's where the efforting goes. You're taking time to study. Once you're aware of what forgiveness is, and it's just happening automatically, there's no effort to it. You recognize, it's more like a recognition that forgiveness already is. So you approach your experiences as already forgiven, right? Everything is approached like that. So that's why it's effortless. It seems like it needs effort, and it does need that kind of attention and effort in the beginning because you're so used to listening to the ego. But once you've undone enough ego in your mind, it's really effortless. It's really effortless all the time because this effort is really an illusion, anyways. But since you have been programmed to strive for something in the illusion, you can strive for the truth if it resonates for you now through A Course in Miracles, and it leads you to the place where you sense the effortlessness because forgiveness is just already what is. You're seeing different, and that's why you're in touch with the effortlessness. Actually, the effort itself is leading away from peace. You can look at it like this, but you're efforting anyways. So if you effort toward understanding what will bring you peace, it works.
Right. Um, our friend who had asked the previous question said thank you very much. Um, and he wanted some clarification. So it's the ego and selfishness. Um, that he says he believes that engaging with groups whose interests are different than his own, um, different from our own, will teach us many skills and help us break down our barriers of fear.
If that's what you need, that's what you're going to be called to. That's just how it goes. Some people are called to just staying in isolation too. I mean, not as many right now. It seems like most of us are being called toward more relationship,
Right.
Relationship seems to be the thing. And in fact, in A Course in Miracles, it talks about relationship a lot. In time, we exist for and with each other. Yeah. So you're going to have all the experiences that you need, and recognizing anyone that comes into your experience is there for a divine purpose and there to be helpful and there for you to help as well.
Um, at one point in my life, that did not please me very much because I very much, particularly after my divorce, um, I really wanted to be a yogi high up on a mountaintop. Um, and, you know, Ram Dass said, if you think you're enlightened, spend, a holiday with your family and
Mm-hmm.
you'll
Yeah.
quickly be shown. Um, but I really did think that a little more isolation would have been my path. I always felt almost drawn towards a monk-like lifestyle,
Uh-huh.
but the course repeatedly reminds me that the path of my awakening is through others.
Yeah.
That if I really, really want the fast track to waking up,
Uh-huh.
I can't do it alone because ultimately, um, you're my reflection. You are showing me exactly what I need to see in order for me to forgive it.
That's right. Yeah. So you're allowing yourself to be guided and allowing that to look like anything it needs to look like, even if it is a monk on on a mountaintop, because ultimately you're doing it with Jesus. You're undoing illusions with Jesus. He's always with you, he's always talking to you, he's always guiding you.
Beautiful. Um, so we have about 10 minutes or so, and we'll wrap things up. Can we talk a little bit about your book?
Sure.
Um,
Unschooling for parents.
and what's the? I know you mentioned uh, the experience with your son.
Yeah.
Uh, really, was that the spark?
One of them. Yeah, there's a lot of experiences I wrote about in there. I wrote from 2014 to 2018, my experiences with raising kids and awakening at the same time. I had three children, they're spaced out pretty well. Right now, one is 33, one's 23, and one's 17. And there it was just a very different, the way I changed. First I was came out very conventional, and the way I changed and I started to see things differently. I started to allow them to have their own experiences without putting my perceptions, my programming onto them as best as I could too. And just talking about different dynamics that play out between the kids, between myself and the kids, the bad mom syndrome. I got
Right.
that a lot, like I'm being a bad mom, I'm not doing it well enough. I would always get that kind of reflection and use that too. And it'll show you whether you're a parent. This book is great for everyone, because whether you're a parent or you're a child, you're one of those at least, or two. It really shows you some insight into the dynamics that are playing out, and how to see past those dynamics and really live in the unity with people that you've set up as being roles for you. There's all these expectations that go along with these, especially familial roles. So
Right.
I got to learn a lot through that. And gosh, my experience was there's no one for me to learn from. Like when I felt lost and I felt confused, because when I looked to all the masters, everyone I was reading from, they didn't have kids to deal with. They weren't talking about that.
So it was easy for them to say.
Right? It's like, oh, you don't know how this feels. But what happens is it all ends up in the same basket, like what Jesus is talking about, right? So even being a mom, even parenthood, it all just goes into the same basket. Any interaction that I have with my kids, it's the same thing. We exist for and with one another. And we have a shared interest, a shared goal in doing this, in existing for and with one another. And that's timelessness with God.
Beautiful. I hope does uh do your older kids sort of feel like the younger um, uh, their younger sibling had a different mom?
Yes, well, one of them, my first child, who's a daughter, who's 33, her childhood was just completely different, and she tells her little brothers, "You're welcome," because she's
She
like, I was the guinea pig. Mom was practicing her conditioned concepts on me.
I
I
hope they
sent her to
appreciate that.
military school actually, and she was glad because it was worse with me than it was at military school.
Wow. What about viewing your own evolution through the lens of your children?
Well, my daughter, again, we had a certain kind of mode that we would go into when we would communicate. We'd go into this mode where it'd be like, "Arr!" We would both see it. We both read patterns. So we would both see how our voices would change and things would intensify. So after I had my awakening in 2014, I was getting involved with something like that with my daughter again. And all this stuff came right out of my mouth about basically what a dumbass she is, right? And as soon as it came out of my mouth, I said, that was not about you. That was about me. That has nothing to do with you. That has to do with my own thoughts about myself. And those aren't even true. And we just had a hug and everything shifted. Now she's like she's super. She sees it. She's the one who saw it first. She's the one who
Well,
saw the awakening first. And she's the one who had the most dramatic kind of childhood where she has
right.
a mom that's like a drill sergeant enlisting my husband to make sure she does all the things she's supposed to do in the world. So she definitely and noticed it, and she appreciates how I was with the younger kids too. And then my son, who's 23, he's the one who was at 12, was just seemed to be completely against me. Seems like there was nothing I could do, and that took a little bit longer to unfold. But now he's just in acceptance of me. He's really sweet to me. We have long conversations and stuff, but he's just kind of like, "Yeah, mom," and he starts to see certain things that I've said over the years. There's ideas, of course, that I've done things wrong, and I don't disagree with those. Like
Right.
I told a 9-year old, I'm not really your mom, and that tripped him out. So I'm like, yeah, I see where you're coming from. So just being able to communicate with them like that, it opens up everything. I've also seen my son when we've gotten triggered together just recently this year. I've seen him tune into his own energy field and kind of calm down. And with both of us doing that, it was washed out. It was just undone right away. We just got to our sincerity with one another really fast.
Nice. We
Yeah.
have a friend who asked if you have any kids that still live with you, or have they all left?
Oh, actually, I am living alone. Yeah, and my husband, who I've been separated from for about a year and a half, that was part of the next step. He was a 30-year relationship. Um so he's living with our daughter who's 33 and our son who's 17. And our daughter who's 33 takes care of the business with him, Miracle Botanicals. Yeah, the essential oil business.
Okay. Um, family dynamics. You know,
Yeah,
uh, probably our greatest and our hardest forgiveness lessons that we have. Um,
I agree.
but we're not, as we said at the very beginning, we're not giving anything that is beyond our capacity to forgive.
That's it. That's right. And to me, the way I felt like that person who's saying, they had a Kundalini awakening too early when I was just having to go through this kind of pain. It was incredible because there was all this guilt wrapped around it. Like, shouldn't I know how to do this? Shouldn't I be okay? Shouldn't I be better at this? You know, So,
Right,
but when you see that it's all given to you perfectly, it's like, oh, you can relax, and the people around you can relax. Uh, my son, who just like a few years ago would not talk to me sometimes because he thought I was so crazy. We'd have hour and a half conversations. It's like I'm just willing to see things differently. For one, I'm totally glad that he's expressing how he needs to express. It's if there's a moment where he doesn't want to talk to me, or even a whole lifetime where he doesn't want to talk to me, I'm good. I'm going to be talking to the people that do want to talk to me.
right, right. Um, so to wrap things up,
Yes.
where can we find everything um, from Hope? Where can we find everything from Hope Johnson? You have a beautiful YouTube channel.
Oh, thank you. Okay, well, that's really just like a small part of it. There's a lot of Hope Johnson stuff. If you go to hopejohnson.org, I've got lots of recordings. I usually record twice a week for 2 hours. One of them is a straight wisdom talk, stream of consciousness. The other one is a deep dive into A Course in Miracles. I've also recorded all 365 lessons from A Course in Miracles with a contemplation. And this is all free. You can find it on my website, even YouTube stuff, whatever. You can find it on my website. It's all free. And then you can also get my book there on my website. You can donate. Hope Johnson Ministries is a religious nonprofit. You can donate to Hope Johnson Ministries. You can also book one-to-ones with me, and I even offer live-in, which is really fun.
Um, that's awesome.
Yeah,
We have your, I have the link for Join Hope's Ministry. We
yeah.
have your website there. And so,
hopejohnson.org.
yep, I hope everyone uh, take a look at it and take a deep dive. Um, I honestly feel that you would be a great guide. Um, and
Thank you.
I've had a 90-minute conversation with you, um, and my my thoughts about, and I was already thinking this of writing it tomorrow on appreciation
Hmm.
and gratitude. So hearing you express how far we can take it um, just really inspires me to not only write about it from that level, but to truly commit to. It's no accident that I had read in chapter 17 this morning
Hmm.
about appreciating your brother for what they bring you, and
Yep.
then again, I've used the word depth in this conversation with you several times. The
Hmm.
depth that you've taken these practices is really uh, it's inspiring.
Yeah, and I'm still going. I'm still going deeper.
Still going deeper. Um, it really seems when we have that kind of practice that there's no limit to how deep we can take it.
That's right, because the world that's created for us is nothing like this. It's everything we want. It's everything we really want. So when we see through the thoughts that tell us we have to accept what we don't want, we're actually releasing those limitations. So we're bringing about what's actually true through us. So yes, I've got deeper and deeper to go. I'm so excited
Right.
about it.
Um, and I'm excited the fact that you are taking us with you. So
Yes.
again, thank you for that. I want to read one last comment. Our friend said, "Eric knows the nicest people."
Aw.
Um, thank you for everything you do.
Yeah, thank you too, Eric. I appreciate you. You're so sweet. Thank you for this.
And would you think about coming back up?
Of course. Yeah.
Because I do this every day. Um,
Yay.
and I would love uh, 90 minutes plus just flew by.
Yep.
Um, and I think that we have uh, lots and lots of things that we could keep coming back to. And you can never cover the basics too much because really the course is just about there's there's no another thing I love about the course. There's no advanced level course practitioner. It is just someone who is stuck with the basics over
Yeah,
and over and over again, no matter what life brings to them.
that's right. It's a practical course. You use it throughout the particulars of your life and be brought to greater understanding, joy, lightness, and extending love.
Um, I wasn't going to ask you any more questions, but a friend wants to know. He asked me once how I overcame social phobia, social anxiety, um, and of course, I don't feel like I have
Okay.
overcome it. I still have uh, social anxiety, but like you just said, I forgive my way through it. I have it. It shows up, and I forgive it. I didn't want to
That's
go to
it.
bat. I didn't want to go to battle with any of my issues
Right. Right.
because it just makes the issues stronger.
Yep, you just let it be what it is. I feel nervous. For the first 4 years of doing my wisdom dialogues, I felt like I had to pee when I didn't have to pee. I was so nervous.
Um, and you just forgave your way through it, right?
That's right. It's like I saw that I'm going to give this wisdom talk and I feel like I have to pee at the same time and beautiful. Yeah.
So I hope that answered your question, my friend. And again, hope thank you so much. I
Thank
deeply
you
appreciate
too.
your time,
I love
and
you.
I love you too, my friend.
And I love your audience. What sweeties.
I got pretty lucky uh, with the people showing up,
Hmm.
and I believe you had some people show up earlier. Probably stayed here because there was a lot of comments that I didn't get a chance to get to.
Okay.
Someone says, "I love my hope." Um,
Oh,
so I know you've reached a lot of people.
yeah. I
Um,
put a little. I put a little notice out today when I had the link.
thanks, and I will send you the link to the live stream
Okay.
when we're when it's done and it's been processed. Oh, someone right there says, "Love you, Hopi,"
They know me.
and
If
also
I could see these guys. Well, there's a lot of people on here.
there
Oh.
we had a really good turnout for you.
Mm. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. That's
And
Edina. Nice. I love
what I
you.
love, especially a lot of times, um, I always joke about one time I went live and I had 87 people rush into the live stream, uh, waiting on my every word until I started talking. And in a space of a minute, it went down to three. Um,
Wow.
and I always think about that. And I always have said from the very beginning, um, I will I will have the same message to three people or 87 people, no matter who shows up. If no one shows up, I will still sit here and I will talk what's in my heart for as long as it feels like it needs to be expressed. So it's not about um, it's not about who shows up. It's about who we reach. And one of the things that I noticed in our conversation is that people stayed
Mm-hmm.
because they were engaged because you were reaching them,
How
and
fun.
that's the important thing. And that's what makes me excited about what I was telling you backstage, sharing the shorts and the videos, because I know that it's going to be of great service.
Yes. I'm glad about that.
Me too.
Yeah.
So thank you
Yay.
again, my friend.
Thank you. Much love to all. Aloha.
Bye, guys.